My wife is a stay-at-home mom and has racked up 17K of debt in the past 11 months behind my back. My M30 wife, F30, is a stay-at-home mom to our 2 kids, 2 years and 8 months. I'm military and have been gone for most of the past year, and things have been pretty rocky. She brought up divorce in our last fight. She's been a stay-at-home mom for about 2.5 years now, and I've been okay with that since I've made enough to make ends meet. We have a joint bank account, and recently, ever since I got back, money has been tight. I saw her walking upstairs with a pen and paper, and since this is unusual for her, I asked what that was for. And she replied, just for finances. Since I'm the sole provider, I was interested in what for, and she said it was for her credit card debt. I asked how much she had, and she said $17,000. My jaw hit the floor. When I asked on what, and she couldn't give me a straight answer, but if it was anything like her past, it's just random junk from TJ Maxx, thrift stores, or from Target. The past 3 months, we've overdrawn our checking account every month because of her impulse purchases. Every time I bring it up, she gets very defensive and ends up in a fight. Backstory. Last summer, I consolidated our credit card debt into a $32K loan with a lower interest rate and have been making payments on that ever since. We both had 2 credit cards. We agreed to freeze one and only use one each. She never froze the one and continued to use both cards. I'm military and left for 8 months, and she went and stayed with my parents where most groceries were taken care of, with exception to baby formula. So I couldn't see daily spending habits. My parents said there were boxes of Amazon packages nearly every day though. I feel betrayed. I'm mad. I don't know what to think right now. Am I wrong to feel like she needs to get a part/full-time job and get separate bank accounts? I would obviously cover bills and expenses, but I don't know how to correct her financial problem. We basically break even as is. Help. Update. Last night I told her I didn't want to speak to her about this because I don't want to say something out of emotion and something I don't mean. And I get this as a response. Go ahead and say what you want because you're clearly thinking of it. I know I don't work, I don't make money, and I'm sorry for that. I'm the one to blame. I will go to work. I have no problem with that. Then help me find a daycare and finish applying for the childcare. I've done a lot in this, and you haven't been any help with it. These are our kids, and this part of it isn't easy. Everyone in this world has debt, unfortunately. I'm not proud of it, but it's something that doesn't just go away in a few years as much as we would like it to. I don't know what's more frustrating/disturbing, our financial situation or her casualness and lack of responsibility/ownership for putting us in this situation. I make the most I ever have in my life right now, and yet this is the most upside down I am in debt. Unreal. Relevant comments. Editor's note. OOP has made lots of responses. I am posting the common background questions asked in responses. Commenter 1. Let her confirm this with a lawyer, obviously. Assuming you are in USA. But if she takes your kids and leaves without a court order, you have 6 months to file for custody. If you file within that time, you are almost guaranteed to get full custody of your kids, no matter what argument she makes. It doesn't matter if she was the primary caretaker of kids. It doesn't even matter if you never lifted a finger to help your kids. If she takes your kids out of state and you file for custody within 6 months, full custody is almost guaranteed. If you miss the 6-month deadline, though, it's game over. So she will try to manipulate you into waiting and that she will come back soon. It's a delaying tactic. Don't fall for it. File for custody within 6 months and you are guaranteed custody. OOP. I am in the USA. Thank you for this. I don't know anything about divorce, so this is good info to have in my back pocket. This is the closest I've been to considering it. Commenter 2. You need to talk to Base Legal ASAP to get some advice. If you plan to separate and divorce, you need to secure representation. She can say that all she wants, but you and I both know that shit doesn't hold up the way it used to. OOP. I'm going to visit Base today and talk with some people about this. Thank you for this. Commenter 3. Clock starts ticking now. If she racks up more debt, you will be responsible for it. If she stays at home for some more time, chances of alimony increases. Walk away now or pay the price. Being a stay-at-home mom is a privilege she earns when she can prove that she is a net positive to your life. Being financially prudent is bare minimum. She is not. Walk away. OOP. If she leaves, she's taking the kids across the country to live with her parents. She's told me this before. Commenter 4. You should keep an eye on that. If she can't be trusted not to rack up debt when she has no job, what makes you think she will actually pay off her debt, which is now 50% yours, more than likely since you're married, depending on your state. In the event you get divorced, not that you said it was an option at this point, just make sure you're not fucked. That's financial infidelity. OOP. Got it, thank you. And thankfully my state is not one of them. I checked. Commenter 5. She needs to go into the workforce. OOP. I agree. Since all the debt is in her name with her cards, I'm thinking of separate accounts. And she solely uses her money to pay off her debt. Commenter 6. What is she doing with all the money? It's financial infidelity, and I wouldn't doubt there's physical infidelity as well. OOP. She's just spending on just random bullshit. Toys for the kids, random stuff from garage sales, holiday decor from this place, clothes from that place. Just crap. I'm certain there's no physical infidelity. Commenter 7. Wow. I don't ever spend money we don't have as a stay-at-home mom. I couldn't imagine doing that to my family. That's ridiculous. I think she should pay for it. $17,000 is a lot of money. And what was the debt from before? Was that also from her spending? OOP. Yes. When I consolidated our debt, she did have an additional credit card with $5,000 on it. However, that was interest-free for the first year, so that was not a part of the loan. When I saw on our bank statements credit card payments, I was under the impression that she was making payments on that. She also purchased a bedroom set for $4,000, but I set aside money for her to pay that. Little did I know, none of that went towards the set and funded another spending spree. Commenter 8. Just to look at another point of view, are you sure there is no mental health component? Buying stuff is an addiction for some people. Also, buying lots of useless junk can be a sign of bipolar disorder. OOP. There is a mental health component to this. She struggles with depression and takes medication for it. She's gone through therapy before for it. Update. 6 months later. I wish I could say things have gotten better, but they haven't. After discovering how much debt she had accumulated over those last 11 months and having our joint bank account overdrawn 4 consecutive months, I opened a separate bank account to start rebuilding our finances. I give her $200 every 2 weeks for $100 monthly to spend however she likes. I transferred all bills, insurance, and payments of any kind to withdraw from my separate account. I started doing all the grocery shopping. We had a serious sit-down conversation about her re-entering the workforce, but picking up a part-time job to start paying towards her debt. And she hated the idea of going back to work because that's not what the plan was when we first had kids. The original plan was for her to be a stay-at-home mom until our kids, 2 and 1, started going to school. She went through 3 jobs in 3 weeks, quitting hours before her shift through text. I was trying to take over her life and controlling. She's found a new job since November, and she works 10 hours a week. We've started going to therapy in November as well. Therapists said this was a classic case of financial infidelity, and she compares it to cheating, but with a credit card. She refuses to do our couple's homework with this because she says it's pointless and doesn't see the point in it despite me expressing my desires to. She told her parents about the situation, how I made a separate bank account from her, and that I'm financially abusive to her. I walked into a conversation my mother-in-law was having with the male lady about me, and I can honestly say they no longer like me. She's picked up on her drinking and finished a box of wine in 2 days regardless of the day. A couple times when she was drunk, she's brought up how nice it would be if we moved back to Indiana, but can't because of my job. Conversations between my wife and I are cold, basically outside of the kids, and once they go to bed, she goes upstairs and closes the door. She despises the idea of having 2 separate accounts and regularly threatens how she will not be with someone who had separate bank accounts. Recently and currently, I was put on a 3-month tour overseas, and she quit her job, quit therapy, packed up her stuff and the kids' stuff, and went back to Indiana until I come back. Things have gotten so unbelievably messy. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Do you have issues outside of money? OOP, we do. The connection we once shared has been replaced by resentment. I find myself lacking empathy for the situation at this point, and most of my decisions have been based on logic and not emotion, and therapy agreed with that. I've been trying to empathize, but a lot of these decisions, I don't understand the reason behind it. Her mental health really took a dive ever since we moved to where we did. This is her first big move away from family and friends, and she has really struggled to plant roots in our new state. She is definitely an introvert, but I've tried introducing her to other spouses, outings with the church, local activities in the area, and other events where you could meet others, but a lot of the time she backs out. That's when I thought, we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. If she works at Costco, she can earn an income, get started on a career, and be around people her age and have a potential to make friends from work. So I really urged her to try it. She applied, interviewed, and got hired. She worked there for 2 days before quitting by text an hour before her shift change. She told me I was being controlling and she'll work where she wants to work. So now she works as a receptionist, with less flexible hours, making less than she did at Costco, with no retirement plan, and all of her coworkers are 15 to 25 years older than her. Commenter 2. Sorry, my friend, but it seems like you are about to lose your marriage. OOP. I think the hardest part about this is watching the person you fell in love with turn into someone you don't even recognize anymore. Commenter 3. File for a legal separation so you won't be responsible for any new debt she incurs. OOP. We live in a state where debt stays with the individual, not the couple, so that's good. Commenter 4. It sounds like she moved to a different state. I would talk to a lawyer. OOP. So she moved in with my parents. They're aware of the situation. If she doesn't move back when I move back to the States, I will. Commenter 5. Ugh, I'm so sorry. As an army wife, I hate to say that I've seen this so many times and it sucks so much. But her taking the kids to Indiana sucks because you're leaving and they will have residency somewhere else. You have to talk to your CO or go to a lawyer and have something in writing possibly. Don't let her keep screwing you. I know only how the army works, but sometimes even the soldiers get screwed in divorce. OOP. I'm overseas right now. I could, but I'll be back soonish. I'm under the assumption that she'll meet me back at our house when I get back. If she doesn't, I believe I have 6 months from the time her residency changes to act. Where is the money going? Is OOP's wife gambling? OOP. Amazon, TJ Maxx, Target, grocery shopping. That turns into shopping for house decor for holidays 6 months from now. $200 here, $150 there. Eating out, you name it. She'll brag about what she found thrifting at a thrift store or rummaging at garage sales and what good things she found, but she'll still spend $150 at the place. Commenter 6. It looks like you are headed for divorce, and a poverty-stricken drunk will make a terrible custodial parent. So you are going to have to keep a record of her drinking, otherwise she gets custody, your children are neglected, and you pay child support. If she drinks and drives someplace, call the cops on her, especially if the kids are in the car. Call each time. If you get full custody, you will need a nanny or your parents to help out. To further get a legal trail, text her mother to keep an eye on her drinking. Text about not letting her drive drunk, especially with the kids in the car. Text her father, too. OOP. Her mother and father are 1000% team her and agree to whatever my wife says or does. They would not tell me anything. I'm going to try my hardest for full custody, and that was the plan, with the nanny, if I got it. Commenter 7. This isn't someone who is remorseful or working on themselves after a mistake. This is just ridiculous. See if you can minimize the financial impact on you from her bad decisions. Then divorce her. She doesn't want to work? To be held to account for her decisions? Then she can resolve her problems on her own. The kids make this super tricky, but she's not a sensible person to care for them either. OOP. I agree. Every day is like the Twilight Zone. Nothing she's doing is helping us come together as a team again or working on herself/mental health. It's to the point where if I don't 1000% praise her every decision, let alone question anything she does, it's me trying to control her life. Kids do make this extremely tricky to navigate, but I would fight my hardest for full custody. Commenter 7. The problem is that this sounds like weaponized therapy speak. Someone has said financial abuse can mean controlling access to funds and controlling a homemaker partner through an allowance, and she has neglected to grasp that, in the context of her financial abuse of you. You're not abusing her, but just drawing healthy boundaries. Again, if it weren't for the kids, I'd make sure everyone knew about the part she's conveniently neglecting. OOP. You're right. I could not continue to stand by and do nothing as the paycheck gets drained within the first 5 days of getting it. We need to look at what we're spending money on talk was useless. The be more careful on what we're buying talk was useless. The budgeting was useless. At the end of the day, I needed to protect myself and our family financially and separate the accounts because we were just hemorrhaging money. In some of our final months, our therapist did suggest I stop the allowance because it can be building an unhealthy power dynamic in the relationship and suggested my wife going back to work full-time and having our kids daycare. But my wife didn't want to put the kids in daycare full-time, so she didn't do it and instead just kept on asking me for money or to rejoin the accounts.